And of course, you've made a great choice. Well, there's this conference that has been going on for the better part of the week. More than 1,000 women from around the continent have converged in Kempton Park for the African Women in Dialogue conference. Now, the dialogue seeks to place focus on strengthening African women's movement within the fourth industrial revolution. And let's cross over now to our reporter, Nthakoana Ngatane, who's been following and attending this dialogue. Nthakoana, good morning.
Good morning, Sakina. Well, we are continuing. We're on day 3 of the Africa Women in Dialogue, convened by South African Women in Dialogue and the Zanele Mbeki Development Trust. And yesterday I sat in on a panel discussion that I think in nowadays language would be called lit. These were women including Dr. Mamphele Ramphele, who were talking about the values of the African continent in this ecosystem of the fourth industrial revolution, and women expressed their views there on the panel and both on the panel and from the audience. But let's get a sense of what we can expect, particularly for today. And we're talking to the chairperson of the Zanele Mbeki Development Trust, Mena Nangobese. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, a lot of the women here have been saying, how is it that Mama has not come on stage? How is it that she hasn't spoken? Yes. You know, ordinarily we would have expected her to do that. And I've just seen her now running away.
I wish I had an answer to that. It's $1 million question. But one thing I can say about Mbeki, she wants to empower other people through whatever she does. So it's very characteristic of her to always slip away when she sees media. And I think what she does, she pushes from the back all the time. And I think we're talking about leaders like that yesterday. And I do believe that in the future, moving forward, it's the type of leaders like her that we need, who allow others to become the best they can ever be.
Give us a sense of what's expected to happen today. We've seen women go through sessions about realizing themselves, connecting with themselves and connecting with others. We have talked about breaking barriers. What do we expect today?
You know what I found quite exciting about the program? We thought today would be the epitome of the whole conference, and it will be. But the first 2 days where women were breaking those barriers within themselves so that they are receptive to the messages that come through. Yesterday, for me, it was just an icing on the cake, because what it has done, it has set the foundation for where we want our fourth industrial revolution to actually take place. Once we have laid the foundation of who we are, then anything can come on top of that. And I think we have actually started a conversation that will say, no, in Africa it's not just fourth IR, it's about us first, and then IR on top of that, to achieve the objectives of being the best continent that we can ever become. So today, what is going to happen is the instruments that we're going to see through the lecture that Professor Marwala is going to give us. That's the master class. And then we're going to have the panelists, like your telecoms, your Netbank is going to be here, and all others, who are going to allow us to see what is available that we can use. I actually have challenged some of them in other fora to actually say, what can we do to take the very instruments to our communities? Because if it doesn't get there, then it's not worth having. And if it gets to the communities, let it be used for the service delivery of our people so that they become better than they are today, so that things don't become as hard as they've been for a very long time.
Now, we have talked about women being empowered, and they do say that they feel more confident in terms of what they would like to achieve. But in terms of tangibles for the trust, what is it that you expect women to go back exactly and do?
We are talking to champions in their own right. Each one of them are taking the very same message of actually saying, you build through others. It's absolutely important that when women see themselves as leaders, they don't see themselves as an end and all to themselves. When they leave here, most of them know now Ubuntu is the ground on which we are all walking as Awit. It's not unfamiliar to Africans. Ubuntu, it's us. Therefore, then, because it is an asset to us, let's build on it so that whatever instruments that you actually have, create an environment that actually allows everyone to come on board, everyone to see themselves as valuable citizens, of the continent. Therefore, the message that most of the women are going to take, even in their own different skills, wherever you are, if you're an engineer, go back home and see what you can actually do in your own environment using the very same instruments. Then let's not look outside all the time. Let's look within our own environment so that our children have confidence that they can actually do the same. We can preach it. I will never be able to create a robot, but I know there is is a child who is a 10-year-old whose brain works like the robot already. Now, all I have to do is to expose him to the problems we have. My child, what can you do to actually better our lives where we are? And that's what we're hoping it's going to do.
Let me put you on the spot. UN Women says the countries of Africa have an excess 400 million that is unspent almost annually. And if I were to ask you, what would you do with that money?
I would take it to school. I would take it to our children so that while we actually teach Ubuntu at home, we actually make sure that their minds are open to what is actually possible in their own environments. I know we're spending a lot in education, but what we have not done, like Mampela said yesterday, is that we are not preaching the Ubuntu values enough at school, because that actually has to become part of the curriculum. We cannot talk about it glibly. We have to make sure that it becomes part of the curriculum. But two, the Constitution also has to be part of the curriculum at school, not just in terms of the print, but in terms of how we act it out. Therefore, it becomes easy for us to say we are educating a cohort of young kids who are going to grow up in an environment that allows them to be the best they can ever be, at the same time use those instruments that are available to them to better the lives of their people in the communities.
Thank you very much. Nana Ngobese is the chairperson of the Zanele Mbeki Development Trust, the convener and the host of this first and inaugural Africa Women in Dialogue. And so we have another 3 days to go starting today. It ends on Friday. And of course, already women are saying that they're taking away confidence in terms of what they individually want to go back to their communities, whether in South Africa or on the African continent, the various countries that they come from, to go and make a change for inclusion of women in the fourth industrial revolution. Back to you in studio.
Well, thank you so much, Nthakoana Ngatane. They're very important conference taking place. And staying with women's issues, of course, we're going to cross over to